We're bringing the big D energy. That's the Dorothy-Inez energy this morning. And we're excited. If you haven't joined us on Facebook, come to the Tribe of Giants. It's a wonderful place where you can hang out, see like minded people, feel supported, just get some love. If you haven't followed us on YouTube, click the subscribe button so you can see when we go live every single dang time.
Every
And
dang time.
yeah, if you want to
There should
join an
be a
SG group, you better do it
yeah
quick because that puppy's coming up, right, Nick?
in 2 weeks. No,
No,
less than a week.
2 weeks. 1 week.
Yeah. Oh
One
boy.
1 week and a couple days.
August
So
31st.
there you go. 10 days.
Yeah. I think we have only 5 seats left, so 5 are filled. And so if you're interested and want some information, that's a terrible way to say it. You need to
Better,
do this program.
yeah. Better
Dorothy
hustle your
Inez, is that
bustle.
accurate?
I've had a little too much energy today, but I'm gonna love the big D energy we're gonna get today. So will you introduce our guest?
I, I will. We got Dorothy Inez, and it is Dorothy Inez, not Dorothy. Please don't say that. Dorothy-Inez Del Tufo. She's a 3-time international best-selling author, inspirational speaker, confidence coach who helps female solopreneurs show up and shine online with confidence from the inside out. And she means it when she says that. She holds a master's degree in organizational psychology from Azusa Pacific University. And when she's not working with clients, she's studying spirituality, watching movies, and listening to her favorite Prince music. She's a big Prince fan. Yeah. We're so glad to have you. I
Was
think
that
this,
Prince?
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Woo!
right behind me.
Yeah. Well, we are going to have fun because we're diving into what you know best, which is self care, self love, and an expression of that. And man, I've seen your transformation. Even in the short time I've seen you or known you, there's even been a bigger transformation from before. And so you're not the same person.
No, I'm not. We've known each other, what, 2 years now, me, you, and
Yeah.
Ryan? Yeah.
Feels
I was
Isn't that
like
like, yeah,
forever.
crazy?
you were the first dudes I allowed into my sphere.
Yeah. Slowest 2 years of our life.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Whew. Being your brothers is hard work.
I
It is hard
know. I
work.
know.
She is a grinder. Holy cow. No, I'm ready to learn from you. So that's what we're going to dive into. We'll try and tie in the framework of the 12 journeys into this, but if we get way off course, we're going to do that. And I'll stay on topic a little bit until I
Just a
don't.
little bit.
Yeah, until I get way off course.
Hmm.
So I'm going to let you lead us in, wherever you want to start. Usually we start with the unconsciousness or the mindset that people currently have.
Mhm.
But if that ties in, start there. But if not, I'll let you lead.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm starting off with my ritual of drinking tea. Tea, having a tea ritual. What are y'all drinking?
Oh,
Monster? Monster?
This is not
You
good.
know, a
coffee
tea
and tequila.
ritual is a wonderful way to practice self-care right when you start your day. It's just so soothing and meditative, and so I just love it.
Yeah.
So the piece that you're talking about, the first one is talking about mindset, right? So when somebody, first of all, I'm trying to think where we should start. I hate that you made me start, Nick.
Well, okay, so
I
I
hate
can
it
I
too,
can bring it
Nick.
back in.
Yeah, give me
I'll bring
something.
it back
Give
in.
me something to get my
All
juices
right.
flowing.
You ready to pick up what I'm putting down? I'm going to
I'm
drop
ready to
something.
pick up
Okay.
what you're putting down. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into the mindset that people have because we have learned over time through development, through culture, through school, all these things we've put them on us as though that's our identity. And then we've done it so frequently and so consistently that it's become an automation. So if that's treating ourselves poorly, we're so good at it that we can do it without thinking. And so coming into this, there are going to be a lot of people that they have a way of being that isn't serving them anymore. They're starting to become aware of it, but it's so automatic that it's easy to fall back in. But when they do fall back in, maybe they're very judgmental about themselves, about being there because they know better, but it's unconscious. Does that give you kind of a foothold?
Yeah, a lot of the women that I work with come to me, and the main thing is their mindset. So that's why what you're talking about is perfect because their mindset how they think about themselves. What are they speaking about themselves? Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, you can do that. Excuse me, Dorothy-Inez, not me. So they have this lack of confidence, the self doubt that's always running, this comparing themselves to other people, thinking, like I said, oh, you can do that, Dorothy-Inez, but not me.
Yeah.
So the mindset is the biggest part that holds women back. In my research, part of when I was working on my thesis on confidence, men, while men are still struggle with lack of confidence and self-doubt just like women do, but the thing that men do is they still go for it. Women, 60% of men still go for a job or an opportunity, whereas women, 100% of women won't, not 100%, women won't go for if they don't have 100% of the qualifications, or they know how to do that thing 100%, and that holds us back. I even remember in my studies that men leave jobs like every 2 to 3 years, whereas women stay on jobs 5+ years because of confidence. Whereas men, their salary has, shifted and shifted and shifted. And once I learned that, that was 20 years ago, I learned that. And when I learned that, I started leaving jobs and I started making money faster, because I was like, I'm trying to be loyal to this company, and they're not loyal to me. So I had the confidence to step out and begin to do something different. Because I think once you get armed with knowledge, you just get empowered.
Yeah. So there's got to be a willingness to open up to that, because
Exactly.
if
You have to
I look
decide.
at, if you have a belief system and that belief system says that this is my truth, and you hold on to that, so you say, I can't do this because I'm not Dorothy-Inez, and that becomes your judgment and justification for staying where you are, then you close off any learning and you really become ignorant, right? In a way, you ignore any new information that's out there because you already have the truth. Why would you open up to something else? I'm not Dorothy-Inez. I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's my truth.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, my belief is also that truth, and I'm not going to act on it because I'm not Dorothy-Inez. Right.
Right. And we get that, we get that all the time. And another big thing too is, women are, you've got the mindset, and then they're very caught up, and I speak to women. So if you're a guy, just, whatever resonates for you.
Yeah.
But women, also how they look is another thing that impacts their confidence. They're always, again, going back to that judgment. Oh, I don't like the way I look on camera. Oh, I don't like how my voice sounds. All of these things are things that, and it all starts, Nick. I'm sure you know this from what you say. It all starts from being a kid. Somebody told you you didn't look good. They didn't like this. They didn't like that about it. They hated to hear your voice, or maybe you weren't smart enough. Oh, you can't do that. I mean, I grew up at a time I wanted to be, and I know this isn't going to surprise my brothers, but I wanted to be a star.
What?
I wanted to sing and dance with Prince, or be my own artist. And, my father meant well, but that wasn't a career path that was going to be stable. So
Yeah.
I was discouraged from that. Or when I would sing, I would always be told, oh, you can't sing, girl, be quiet. And just
Yeah.
as of the last year, I just started getting the confidence to share my voice, whether you like it or not. It's for you. I don't care.
I
Yeah.
like it.
And but it started being from a youngster, people telling me what I could and couldn't do.
Yeah. Man, it gets confirmed too and reaffirmed through adulthood, because maybe, a parent or somebody that we looked up to continues to do that. So it gets
Exactly.
reinforced. And so there's got to be a point where we break that cycle, and that's within us. And but there's a humbling process, right? There's some form of awakening or awareness that happens. Either we do it ourselves or something happens in our environment that just kind of knocks us on our heels and says, we got to do something, right? I attended an event yesterday on addiction, and there's a gentleman, he went to prison like 5 times, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. He's like, no big deal, I can do 15. That was his mindset. That's who he was, right? The judge says, well, something's going to change, or you're going to be in there for the rest of your life. And he put him in a program, and over an 8-year period, this guy changed from that old mindset to the new one. But it took a real big impact for him to get knocked on his heels enough, to be humbled enough to open up to a new way of being.
And this is why support is so valuable. Having a coach, having a mentor in your life to help you, navigate these times. Because if that's all you have is somebody speaking that stuff over yourself, if that's all you hear in your circle, that becomes your language. And so language is so powerful. What are we speaking over ourselves? Our words are life. They hold a vibration. And that's why when I'm working with women, I'm always checking their words, and I invite those that are in my circle, check Dorothy-Inez's words, because I'm not perfect. That's why we need people who are at a high, at a higher, I say a higher vibration than we are sometimes, so that we can rise up to that vibration, that thinking, even that, I was just reading an article recently about the social atlas. It was, I saw it on the news, and then I went and looked it up, that we can even break, this is a little bit off topic, but just shows the power of who we hang around, generational, poverty, by shifting who we hang around, because it helps shift our mind and what we believe is possible.
Okay, so I think it's James Clear, Atomic Habits. Is that his name? The author? Somebody will have to correct me on that if not. But to get to his point here, he said, even if you had a friend that was within 500 miles of you, that you associated with, that was overweight, you're 50 some odd % higher likelihood of being obese as well, just by association, even though they're not in direct contact. So your associations really start to impact who you think you are, because that's direct input. That's feedback. That's people that are talking to you in a way that either affirms your way of thinking, or, like you said, if you get somebody with a higher level of thinking, they're going to shift that way of thinking, right?
Yep. Yes, Amy helped us out. James Clear. Go, Amy. Go, Amy.
I think we have Amy.
Yeah, right? Because I just make stuff up and just hope I'm correct.
Yeah, we need a fact checker in this
right?
group,
It's all true.
But
I'm going to attribute it to the wrong person.
So true about that. And that same thing, it affects your confidence and who, how you show up and what you believe is possible for you. I love having, high achieving friends around me, because I am a little competitive. I'm a lot competitive, but in a good way, not in the way that I think I'm, Shauna Lee. Hey, Shauna Lee, sis, I see you. Like Shauna Lee is better than me. No, I see Shauna Lee and she's getting it in. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to get it in.
Let me say shoot.
Yes, I said, oh shoot, because this
what kind of PG show is this? This is ridiculous. Better throw some language in.
Darn.
Oh shoot.
Oh shoot.
Oh darn.
So looking at that, your associations matter. I mean, these are things that really get you to wake up to your potential. And so can you speak a little bit about how we go into judgment, how there might be some grief around that, how you move through toward acceptance? Can we talk about that? Does that tie into what your message is, though? If not, let's go that way.
So, okay, so ask me that question again.
Yeah. So I'll try and confuse you.
Okay.
So
you're doing well.
Yeah, good, good.
You guys are amazing at this.
Yeah, if we look at somebody has a way of being
Mhm.
and they have their associations and they keep those associations, they're likely to just maintain the status quo, so to speak.
Yeah.
You increase your associations and you're likely to expand versus
Well,
stagnate, right?
let me comment there just because you know how my brain is with,
Sure.
my little brain
I
stuff.
know. I go scientific, so
Yeah. Yeah.
help me help you.
So the first thing I want to say is like what we're asking a person to do, like especially when I'm working with women around confidence, because
Mm,
a part of developing your confidence is stepping out, is doing the very thing you're afraid of. So what are we asking them to do, Nick, Ryan? To be uncomfortable. So there's this stepping into the unknown, and so it creates this fear. Then there's this leaving behind the old person that you used to be. And I
I feel like
liken
I've
that.
read this in a book somewhere.
Did you? Well, it might have been my book. I don't know.
well,
But
that's where I got my ideas with Dorothy-Inez's book.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yours too.
Well,
You know,
thank you.
there's
Thank
this
you for that launching pad.
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Um, but there's this, I think about just moving into my new place, and when you talk about grief, and you and I talked about it, Nick, was the grieving that I went through going from the space and the situation that I was in, even though I'm in a better place. Okay, there's still this grieving process as we develop and our confidence and we begin to step into what's new, the grieving of leaving that old person, that old life behind, and
Mm,
stepping into the new. So I found myself as I went through this process feeling grief, feeling sadness, some depression.
yeah,
um,
in a
you're not
way,
supposed to be happy,
yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? You're like,
right?
I'm in a better position. I've left my old way of being, my old life, and I'm sad. Like there's this, it just doesn't logically make sense, but there is a loss, right?
Mhm.
There's something that needs to be accounted for and reconciled in a way.
Right. And what I want to add to tie this into self care, okay? This portion is so, as you're going through this, you see, and I'm just going to use my own situation. I have this whole apartment here, boxes everywhere. And, I could have sat here and pushed myself to unload those boxes and get stuff. I was, and I think I told you, Nick, when we talked, I was so exhausted,
Yeah.
because the energy that I was moving through as I went through this shift was very heavy.
Hmm.
And I had to give myself permission to take care of Dorothy-Inez. And what self-care looks like for every person is different. For me, I had to just step back. I didn't do I'll just say we're gonna make this rated R. I didn't do shit. Okay.
We're
I
getting
just
there. We're getting
I
there.
was
That's
waiting
more
I
for
PG.
it. I'm like,
sat
That's,
in this little
you can do
chair.
it.
that's PG-13, but we'll get to
Okay,
R
okay,
eventually. I mean,
okay.
yeah,
Well, I'm old school. I
yeah.
sat in that chair right there for 5 days. Every day I get up, I always have a cup of tea when I wake up. That's my morning ritual. And I sat in that chair, and this view that I have looks out at the top of trees and into the sky. And some days tears would just flow out. Tears would just allowing myself to
Mm.
just feel and let the goodness of tears, because I was sitting there, I remember talking to, I think I told you, I said I'm talking to my therapist, because I was like, what, why am I crying? I'm supposed to be happy. But literally letting those tears come out was washing my soul, preparing me for the new. And here I am a week later, and I'm in a whole different vibration, but I had to allow
Beautiful.
myself
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
go through those emotions and feel and ask myself, what do you need? What do you need, Dorothy-Inez? And then my soul said, rest.
My soul said fishing, so I went fishing.
Okay. Well,
She
that's a
disappeared
form
for a
of
little while.
that is a form of rest,
Yeah.
for some people, you know. So one thing I do want to do, Nick, is
Yeah.
because I want to make sure I get this in during this conversation, is to really distinguish self-love what self-love is. And I'm going to use because I really liked how he described it. Excuse me, I'm going to use something I researched here, the exact definition, because I use this in my trainings.
Yeah.
So this comes from Jeffrey Bornstein, president of Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. And he says self-love is a state of appreciation for oneself that grows from actions that support our physical, psychological, and spiritual growth. And the reason I want to really bring that up is because a lot of times, culture in the past, when we think of self love, we instantly go to narcissism. Somebody's a narcissist. Oh, you love yourself. You think you're all that. And I remember, I grew up in I won't say I grew up in a spiritual, family. I went to church on my own. My parents did send me in the beginning, but I went on my own. But in the church, you're taught like to love yourself is vain, it's bad, And so I dealt with a lot of that. I dealt with, being open that I love myself. Oh, I think I'm pretty. And a lot of women struggle, to say that out loud, to look at themselves and say, you know what? Dorothy-Inez, you look good today. Dorothy, girl, you look cute,
Girl.
girl, so that's one of the practices I have
Yeah. Yeah.
is mirror work, is because you have to be your own best cheerleader. And that's where identity comes in, is when you know who you are. And my work is spiritual. It's when women understand their divine essence and who they are, then self-love begins to be okay, because what I teach, to love me, is to love God, universe, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's God. So when I love me, I love God. And when I love me, the fruit of loving me is self-care.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
Self-care.
So there's some things I want to highlight and pull from this and bring to the forefront, like the appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciation is to add value to something. So whatever it is, we take that and we increase the value of it. So appreciation as a word, we say it as gratitude or thankfulness. Well, it's actually not just gratitude, it's gratitude plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing that for ourselves, increasing our value within ourselves, it's not so much knowing your soul. It is knowing the soul as it is, which is already as giant as it could be. Like it is everything. But the identity that some people have gets in the way of that. So it clouds that. So they think there's something other than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the appreciation helps them break through that, in a sense. Does that make sense? It's like that self-love is, I am valuable enough to get back to my soul, to get back to my inner knowing, to getting back to my worth and adding to that.
Right. And people think when I talk about this, like I did my 21-day self-love challenge, which I have another one coming up here.
Yeah.
The women, when they came in there, they thought this was going to be, oh, Dorothy-Inez is going to have us do spa days and go get our nails done and no. This is deep work. This isn't just about, think positive and no, this is real, deep, authentic connection and self-awareness. This isn't, because you got to go back and look at, where did that story first start? because that's in the week 1 of the self-love challenge. We're going back in time, just so, not because we want to dwell there, because the past is the past. We want to look at right now, but we need to have awareness about, where did that start? Where did that thinking, where did that thinking start? So I can go, oh, but what do I know to be true about myself? What are all these amazing qualities that I don't own about who I am? Wow, I'm creative, I'm beautiful, I'm talented, all these things. So I have to make this long ass list. And then they begin to awaken, because I think that's a part of what you teach us too, is this awareness.
Yeah.
As they begin to have this awareness of who they are and just how freaking badass they are.
Yes. Yeah. You remember going through the SG course and you hit me up after like the first 6 journeys and you're like, Nick, this sucks. Right?
Yeah. I was like, this shit's depressing.
Yeah. What the hell is this?
I'm like, I came in all positive. Now I'm all stressed out, crying. I'm feeling low vibe.
Yeah. What's up with your program, Nick? Like, this is like really hard stuff. And that's what you're telling with your 21-day challenge is, until we clear that, you talk about the tears, cleansing and washing the body, washing away the old, until we really feel our feels, feel our emotions, really turn around and face this stuff, it always has a say in our life. And so we're afraid to face it. So a lot of people numb out to it. That's where addictions come from, is my life is so bad in here, I don't want to face it. So I'm going to find a way to soften that. And a lot of times that turns into an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're offering, what's offered in the SG programs is, no, we're going to really look at who you've been, why you're that way, where that came from. Does it really serve you anymore? And then let's move beyond that. Let's create you as you already are, just powerful.
I would say too, like, it's a lot of times people think it's like a magic pill, like it's a one and done.
Right. Right. And that's why, we have these ongoing opportunities to continue the coaching, because all like in an 8-week program or 12-week program, you're just getting started. I have been doing my work since 2010. And where are we now? And I'm still evolving, because we've never arrived. We have to make personal growth a priority in our lives, because each and every one of us is here to do something. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. And so I teach life's happening for you. You go through those down moments. Well, that's here to teach you something. Now you got to get back up, and you just keep on going.
Beautiful.
Because all of those things are leading you to where you are supposed to be. You're nobody's victim.
Let's talk about acceptance, gratitude, and empowerment.
Okay.
And you have versions of those, I'm sure, in your programs. But how does that tie into self-care and self-love? When you move into acceptance, gratitude, and empowerment, how would you tie that
questions?
In? Yeah. Okay. So let's turn it back.
Nick, one at a time.
Give me one at a time.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Acceptance.
So let's start with
Ready,
acceptance. Go. Okay. So acceptance. Give me some context.
Yeah. So acceptance, the way that I teach it is around the idea that what is happening is happening. Like what has happened has happened.
Mm-hmm.
No amount of shame or guilt or frustration is going to change that. That's the result of past experiences. Right.
Right.
And so getting into an acceptance is simply, I am where I am. I have what I have. These are my resources. This is what I've created with what I knew. And I'm waking up to that. And it simply is what it is. Right. We can be really hard right there of, it shouldn't be that way. I should be better than this. I should be a lot further along.
Shoulding all over the place.
Yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that. So I see this, what you're describing in my programs. I just look at it as self-acceptance. So one thing that
accepting what is.
Yeah, accepting what is, and about yourself.
Mm.
Okay, because I'm working with women. So one thing women would, I grew up with I always talk about my dad because he's my greatest teacher, and I don't say it in any bad way. But my father, because of our relationship, is one of my greatest teachers because he's tough. Okay.
Mm.
And because of him, I had to be tougher. I had to learn to be more independent because my father doesn't, I wish he coddled me a little bit, but he doesn't. So, but, he always would say, "Oh, you talk too much. You talk all my whole life. I've been told I talk too much." Well, I started doing my personal work, I learned that talking too much, whatever you perceive as too much,
Yeah.
is my gift.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes me a powerful speaker, is because my talking too much is a gift. Yes, Amy,
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about this. Is that it's a gift to talk. Some people are natural born speakers. I'm one of them. Oh, you always want to be the star. I sure do, because that's what I was born to do, Dad. I was called to shine.
Warm it up, Chris.
Yeah, yeah. But
Right?
I'm about to.
you get squashed down,
Yeah.
So you come in. So when somebody says to you, how this empowers you to have self-awareness is where I'm going with this,
Mm.
is that when somebody says you talk too much, Dorothy-Inez, you can go, yeah, I sure do.
Mm.
And it's a great gift I have.
Yeah. So you embrace it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people like, if you eat with me, I'm known that I never eat exactly off the menu. When Dorothy-Inez orders her food, she's going to remove something, add something. If it's not exactly how she ordered it, she's sending it back. Okay.
This isn't Chipotle.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
So, so if you eat with me, I know that you're going to know that. And so my friends will go, "Oh, you're such a diva. I sure am. I just know what I want." So it's like, it's all about, having that awareness about who you are and being okay with who you are and your own little quirks. I don't, when I go out, I like to be cold. That's me. You know what? Oh, you always, that's right. That's right. If you want to kick it with me, you got to know this is how it is.
Yeah.
And that's confidence. That's self-care. That there's these points where, yeah, you want to be flexible. You don't want to be like this, real diva, where you like everything has to be your way, or the highway. You don't want to be like that. But what I'm saying is, don't let those things, Ryan is funny.
Yeah.
Don't let those things uh be like, allow them to be where before you took them as criticisms.
Yeah.
Okay. But also be aware of the things that are amazing about you and own those things.
Yeah.
Did I answer that?
I think you did
awareness
perfectly.
part?
And the beauty of what you do
Nope.
is you don't work on the external stuff. You don't work on the how-tos and the systems. I mean, you may dive into that, but when you work on this, that person that you're with, they change their world by default by who they're being. So that expresses
Exactly.
from them naturally. So,
Right. And we do work on the outer beauty, but that's the last, because the outer beauty must align with the inner beauty, how you show up. A lot of women, I hear that, oh, it shouldn't matter how I look. I'm so sorry, girl. It does matter how you look. That's just, that's just because our outer form, and I'm an image consultant. I didn't put that in there, but I'm a certified image consultant. And what we learn in image consulting is that clothing, our accessories, all of these things, Nick and Ryan, are speaking to who we are. They're forms of nonverbal communication. You and I have talked about image. And they're forms of non-verbal communication, and people develop perceptions about you, whether they're true or not, based on your clothing.
Well, they look at us two honkies right here, like their ball caps, trucker caps. It's like, if we, like we've talked about this, you want to create diversity. Well, might shift it up a little bit, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. And and so clothing, so
Yeah.
like earrings, these things are a form of nonverbal communication. They're speaking to the person and they don't even know. They're telling another person things about me. So when we work on this circle, I have you have the 12 steps. It's 12 steps, right?
12 journeys, but
12
yeah.
journeys.
Yeah, not 8.
I know. I was like, that's why I had to pull back. I'm like, where is not the
Okay.
12 step? The
Yeah.
12 journey. I should know this.
Yeah.
The 12 journeys. I have.
I've got work to do. Man, you just graduated the program and
I know.
like whatever that 12 shit is, I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a great. It really is a great program. But you know how I was in the first part,
I do.
and that was
Yeah.
And that was only because I had already done that work with a coach prior to prior to stepping into your program. And I just signed up for your program because I just wanted to be around Nicholas Smith. I didn't give a shit what the program was.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. And then I got in there and I was like, oh my God, I'm depressed. No,
Then you didn't want to be around him anymore.
But
Yeah.
I know.
But no, that the program, your program is really, really phenomenal, and it goes really deep. And that's the same kind of thing I like to do, is go deep.
Yeah.
But mine is like, we're working first on identity. That's what we're talking about, that awareness, that identity, the mindset, self-love, self-care, having a vision. And then there's the outer beauty, because that's bringing it all together, your makeup, your hair, your clothing, because all of that, and I think many people in here are business owners and professionals. Your confidence in how you show up is vital to your success.
I want to frame this in the right way. I'll try and do that. But it's like, until you do the inner work, it doesn't matter how much makeup is put on.
Exactly.
The Joker is still the Joker, right? You visibly see, if that were a distinction, is you could see that internal world no matter how much is put on the external, because it just can't help but bleed out of you.
Yes.
Right?
I always in my course, I go, have you ever met a woman who's beautiful on the outside, and then when she opens her mouth, all that comes out is ugly?
Yeah.
Because that's how it is. You can put as much makeup. That's why it's the last step.
He was a 10 until, right?
Yeah.
Or he was a 10 until, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
Let's stop talking here. Yeah. Beautiful.
Exactly. So go ahead.
So how do you tie in gratitude to that?
So gratitude is a big part of being grateful for who God created you to be, and being grateful for the gift called you. And I always invite women, when we do prayer, is to always thank God. God, I thank you for the gift of Dorothy-Inez, because when somebody encounters me, they encounter God, they encounter love. And so in having gratitude as a part, and being grateful for the things that you have around you, because again, gratitude is shifting your vibration. It's getting you into that vibration that you can call in the things that you want. Because I recognized I was going through a journey since I moved here to Minneapolis. And I realized that how I thought I was being positive and upbeat. But the thing is that people tune in. It's like, think of yourself as like you're broadcasting out into, there's this vibration. You can't see it, but it's there. You're broadcasting messages. You're sending out energy, and people see you. And even though the words, you're saying happy-go-lucky words and it sounds good, they're saying something is off. Something is off. I don't know what it is. And I feel like I just had this conversation with you or somebody else.
Yeah. I've had
where we were saying that something was off. I couldn't put my finger on it. And they don't know. And sometimes people will just go along with it. Well, that's what was happening for me. And I was like, why isn't anybody joining my programs? What's going on? What's going on? I'm doing all the things. I wasn't doing all the things. I was off internally. My internal game was off. Now that, the last, gosh, I think since almost year now, as I've began to step in because I knew shift was coming, I started digging deeper, and that started impacting how I'm showing up. Well, now I'm not sitting here, I'm not getting I'm getting clients. I'm getting clients that I enjoy working with, because who I be now is different. And that comes from being grateful for the journey, being grateful for all that's happened, because life is always what? Happening for me, never to me. And that one concept right there, that one thing can shift. It takes your vibration to a whole new level, because it moves you from victim to victor.
Yeah.
What's the lesson that I can learn from this? Okay, great. Thank you, God, for the lesson. Next, when you keep going.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's so easy to fall into that victim mentality.
Yes.
But as you practice it and become more conscious and aware, you can do that shifting. It happens to me all the time. I'm like, gosh, damn it, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah,
But then I catch myself.
The
The
quicker
quicker
you
you
get the
do
lesson, the better.
Yeah.
Ryan turns Italian, like, son of a Vespa.
That's all I know.
Vespa. Gelato.
Oh yeah, gelato.
Yeah. Well, you hit on something there. Is it's repeating it. It's habituating it. It's becoming a ritual, because everything that we already are came about by ritual and routine, but we're just not conscious of it. We're creating it, but we're just not conscious of it. Now, to be a conscious creator of your world is to choose the rituals that you want to have in there, to appreciate yourself enough to add value to yourself. Pasta. I forgot pasta. Yeah. So that empowers you. Like when you choose in and you start to really step into that, now you're becoming powerful, right?
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Did we lose you?
I think
Yeah.
like as you're doing that, it aligns truth. So it aligns what you really are, not what like you think you should be or others think you should be. It's aligning what God has designed you to be, and what you are really. And just it's getting back to that. It's learning how to get back to that and find the real Ryan, the real Dorothy-Inez, the real Nick Smith.
Right. And what you're saying is so powerful, Ryan, because a big part of the whole thing that I do was grounded. There's a scripture, Ephesians 2:10. And you don't have to be a Christian to just take ancient wisdom and apply it to your life. And Ephesians 2:10 says, you are God's masterpiece. What does masterpiece mean? Go and look up that word and put it in the thesaurus and look at, you are one of a kind. You were not meant to be like anybody but yourself. And when we realize that's literally a permission slip from heaven to be exactly who you are, unapologetically, quirks and all, be you, because you were how the world needs you exactly as you are. If you go and shift up and try to become a Dorothy-Inez, a Nick, or a Ryan, the world is missing out on the gift called you.
Man, I look at the ancient wisdom that passed on is all about the internal work, every bit of it. And the things that are selling today are the quick fixes. Like throw this Band-Aid on and your life will change. Like it's some external thing will create a change in your life. Well, that's like the lottery. If you haven't done the internal work, that's the difference between a wealth mindset and a lottery mindset. is you really haven't developed the ability to have that when it does hit you. So you have this skill set to a shitty interior, and it's like you just destroyed this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So ancient wisdom, what I love about it, you go into the Bible, Buddha, what is it, Islam, right? All these different teachings
Mm-hmm.
are about who are you creating yourself as first,
Mm-hmm.
and then let that create your world.
Mm-hmm.
Let that express from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and inside of that is, and this is why if you looked at my my foundation of the work that I do, is that identity is key. You know, for me, I work with women who do have a God concept, and so understanding who you are in your oneness with God, that you know, Christ within, and Christ not in a religious aspect, okay? I don't speak in religiosity, but Christ in the aspect of knowing that the word Christ means one who is anointed and appointed for a specific task and purpose. Every single human on this call or this live has a Christ within, because every person was anointed and appointed for a specific task and purpose. Your job is to figure out what is that, and then align yourself with Christ energy, being that light in the world, because that's what we are called to be, a light through our gifts. It doesn't mean that, oh, you have to make millions of dollars. You could be a person that you meet a homeless person on the street and you gave them, you know, $20, and you were the light to them in that moment. You were God's hands and feet in that moment. That's what we are here to do, is to use who we are authentically. That's why self-love and awareness and having the confidence to step into this work is because you are so needed. You know, nobody, you don't have to have a big stage, microphone, and make millions to make a difference. All you have to do is be yourself. And that's what doing the work that I do, the work that Nick does, that's what it does. It allows you to fully step in and embody who you truly are, divinity in motion.
Yeah, man. All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay, we're done.
Good. Yeah, that was beautiful.
God, we're done.
No,
Yeah.
just started.
I'm like, it's like I get on those. It's like I'm sitting here and I'm like saying, you know, this is so funny because
Yeah.
when I'm talking, and those kind of moments come inside of myself. I'm saying, shut up, you're talking. That's what
I swear.
No.
I swear you had a mic and you dropped it.
Yeah.
I swear I heard it. I was like,
it's like the me, the little me is like saying shut up, but the big me is like just talking and I can't shut it out, and so I just have to say what's coming through. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, what you've hit on here is that when we are empowered here, when you know who you are, there is nothing out here that can stand in your way.
Exactly.
So you face uncertainty. Well, you as the explorer of uncertainty have certainty in you. And so that brings confidence into the unknown. Like the more you know you, the more you start to see abundance in the world, the more you're able to see your vision clearly and have hope for that vision so that you know you're the one that can bring it about.
Yep.
You start building yourself up day by day so you have a purpose so that you're building yourself up, right? So when you know who you are, that's why when we do the 6 journeys, the first 6 journeys are all about that internal work. Your 21-day challenge is all about that internal work. When you know who you are, then you step into vision. When you're uncertain here, you have no reason to be in vision or abundance because you will not see it. You won't see possibility. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Speaking to possibility, speaking to vision. So vision is a big part of the work that I do as well. We start with vision because for me and the work that I do is tapping into the divine, and I walked them through this beautiful visioning process that I learned from Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. He was actually in The Secret. He's one of my teachers. And Reverend Michael taught that has this life visioning process. And so it's tapping into your inner knowingness, that higher self, to see, what are you here to do? What are you here to do? What's in the best and highest good of your life, of yourself? What are you here to do? So tapping into that from an internal, again, everything comes from inside, not outside. You see, this whole time, Nick, I would say these last 5 years, I've been looking outside of myself. Well, what should I do? What should I do that will bring in money? So I went down this path, went down that path. And then last year, God said, back to basics. That was in January, because I was doing my life visioning. And it said, back to basics. Back to basics. I was like, God, that's going backwards. I don't want to do makeup, God. I don't want to do this. Back to basics. Going back to basics, back to beauty, back to self-love and self-care with women. That is my sweet spot. But I found, my ego was like, oh, you're going backwards. No, you're stepping into your gift. Because see, I was looking outside of myself for answers when the answers were within. And when we stick with our natural gifts, instead of looking for Nick to tell you what to do, Dorothy-Inez to tell you what to do, Ryan to tell you what to do, you trust yourself.
You get in a lot of trouble if you listen to me.
Yeah.
It'll be fun as heck, though.
Oh yeah, you might even go fishing.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Yeah,
But
everybody.
you learn to lean into the vision that's within. And that's where confidence, because sometimes that vision is gonna, well, that's not the way I was going. And I'm comfortable in the way I was going. It's not getting me the results I want, but it's comfortable. There's something comfortable about staying in the victim mode than
there is.
Yeah.
There's a payoff. There's a real payoff.
Oh, yeah. I always ask people when I'm doing those, well, what's the payoff? There's no payoff. Oh, yeah, no, girl, there's a payoff.
Yeah.
Why you like staying in the victim mode.
Martyrdom complex. The payment is suffering.
Well, I gotta point this out because this is too funny not to. Amy says I hate being told what to do, even by myself. Stop telling me what to do, Amy. How do you fix that? I don't even know.
Yeah, well, that's a loop I don't want to get involved in.
Especially in Amy's head.
Yeah, right. This is beautiful. So tying in, the why, the purpose, feeding that through everything, because you start with vision, but then you show them who they are, and that creates that vision. But why? Like, what keeps somebody going so they keep stepping even when it's hard, right?
Yeah, because you have to feel it. The whole thing, nothing, even you have to feel, because there's an energy and feeling. If you don't feel it, then you're just like, oh, you got this. Well, if I don't feel like this note says I got this, then I'm not going to have this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You have to feel it in your body. Like, I've been doing this since 2010. Am I a millionaire? No. Do I see my girlfriends who started with me making multiple six figures, even millions? Yeah. Do I wish I was like them? Hell to the yeah. But you know what? I get up every freaking day and I am committed to my vision, because I know within in me, every fiber of my being, this is what I am here to do. And I will not give up. And you have to be that like convinced within yourself. Like we will look at Amy, Amy's a prime example. She gets up, you knock you knock her ass down. She's getting back up,
She's like a weeble wobble,
yeah,
right?
yeah, she's back up. Here's what
Yeah.
I.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah,
Look up the
that's
YouTube commercial. It's
Sister
awesome.
Amy. She doesn't, it's because this is what lights her up. This is her fire, her passion. And so how you do it is you have to tap into the feelings of, having that thing. That's why, again, another practice that I teach women is about, it's like a future self visioning. Then every morning you get up and you vision yourself, you connect with that version of yourself. And what are we doing today? Okay. How you tap into those feelings, you see yourself doing that. You literally, I have a visioning on my album that, I get you stepping into that person and you walk out from that energy. Like I helped a girl, that interview that I just posted, the testimonial.
Yep.
That was one of the things I had her do is I had her step into, she talks about that power pose that I had her do was stepping into the girl, the woman that she is, that's going to go in there and kick ass in that interview. Or you go in, because when you get into that, you bring an energy inside of you, and then you go do the thing with that.
Yeah.
Oh, we know because you brought the big D energy today.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And what I love is you stand up for your interviews. You're standing up right now, right? Yeah. I remember that from our first interview. And I've sitting here like sitting down, falling asleep, and you're like all energetic. So I can't help but get
Dorothy-Inez, you want to sit down?
Yeah.
Freaking me out.
Yeah, because I got to be flowing, but that's a lot of right there.
Yeah.
Like Toastmaster.
I want to hit on something though.
Yes.
Okay, if you're watching this, I'm going to speak through the camera here. Is on the screen here we have Dorothy-Inez.com book me, and you'll see tribute after tribute after tribute of people that she served. And what happens sometimes is we have this ideal and this expectation in our mind of what should happen, right? And the impact we're making doesn't measure up to that. So I went to this event yesterday, and Al Richards and Mallory Roosh, they were talking about how they had this vision and this ideal of 3,000 people in this event. There were about 50 people there. Those 50 people were impacted in a way you can't imagine. And so to discount those 50 people because the ideal wasn't met, right? So comparing us to our friends, we forget to serve the people we're with. And one thing I've seen with you, and you'll see on this page, this link here, is that when Dorothy-Inez is in front of another human being, that person is going to get served in a way they've never imagined, right? She is going to be with the person she's with and make an impact right there. And that's a lesson for everybody. You serve who you're with. Don't worry about your ideals, because you measure against your ideals, you're always failing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And you get caught up in that, and then you miss the beauty of the moment, because I've almost been there. I was like, well, I wanted 12 people and I've only got 2. And then I'd have to remember God brought you the 2. You start with the 2 and you give them the greatest experience. Even if it's 1, you give them the greatest experience. Like you said, there's 5,000 in the room.
Yeah.
This one's a good example of that too, by the way.
Yeah. One heart at a time, one person at a time. You make a difference in them right there. And that's what you've done. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Nick. There's one thing that came to me earlier that I want to say, just kind of going back to identity. And that was, when for me, Jesus is my avatar, the person, one of him and Oprah try to model my life. They both inspire me. And Jesus said, when he did these miracles, and I'm paraphrasing, this is the street version, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
So Jesus said, I did all of this. He did, all these miracles and all this stuff, right? And he said, but greater shall you do. And here's the thing. The reason Jesus could do all the things that he did is he knew who he was. Son of God, God. He knew who he was. And so he confidently stepped out and did, laid hands on people, spoke, did all these things. So if Jesus did all of this is how I think in my mind.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
Jesus did all of that, and I'm saying I believe in this, this book of wisdom. If Jesus said, I could do greater, he did that, and I could do greater. Well, who am I?
Yeah.
I can do more than heal blind eyes. I can do more than walk on water. So that is an invitation for us to step into our greatness, for us to uncover who we are, so that we can do our greater. That's what we are here to do, because our greater has an impact. And I can't say it enough. Our greater is needed now more than ever.
Yeah, I hear an expression from you, not outside of you. And that expression gets plugged up by these filters that we put on it that say that we don't allow that through us, right? What you're saying is let's strip all that away, because that'll come through you in a way you can't even imagine if you'll allow it. But that takes us seeing ourselves, right?
And taking the limits off and taking the expectations, just to step into your true divine identity, of who you are. That, as Ryan keeps saying, stepping into that big D energy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, for me, that big G energy.
Big G. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, so is there anything?
Could be God.
A little gangster God. Yeah. Could be that too. So is there anything you wanted to share, maybe in your notes that you wanted to hit on that we maybe didn't talk about before we wrap up?
I'm just going to give
Sounds like
you
a
the
hat.
things that help to cultivate, self-love. The number one thing is to work on eliminating the negative self-talk. I want you to really practice that, to have an awareness of every time you speak negatively against yourself. Because I always say, you are your own best friend. Would you say what you say to yourself, to your own best friend? Probably not. Okay. Create daily rituals, spiritual. I like to think of spiritual rituals, self-care rituals. Like me, it's getting up, having my tea. I have, a bunch of little books over here, and I do a little devotional, and I just think. Sometimes I journal, sometimes I don't. What connects you to you? This is the most powerful thing you can do, is to get to know and love you. Set personal boundaries. Stop saying yes to things that you don't want to do. Stop saying yes to relationships that don't serve you. Stop saying yes to ways of being that are holding you back.
Can I hit on something here?
Absolutely.
I've wanted to say this for a bit about boundaries. We wouldn't need boundaries if people would listen to what we're saying. So in addition to setting boundaries, honor other people's boundaries. When they tell you that something doesn't work for them, listen, right?
Yeah.
Listen. So that's another big thing with boundaries. I just want to drop in there.
No, and that's so good. It's like my girlfriend said, I'm on the phone with people and I tell them I got to go and they keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then practice self-compassion. being compassionate with yourself whenever you're going through things. Stop shooting yourself to death, like we talked about earlier. Be self-compassionate and just give yourself the same love that you would give somebody else. I tell you, there's so much power in just taking these two hands of yours and putting them on your heart and just closing your eyes and just connecting with yourself, sending yourself love, healing energy. And then the last thing is to create space for self-reflection. That could be journaling. That could be even taking your phone and opening, having a living document that you just talk to whenever you're feeling things and just talk out your emotions. Because sometimes I like to talk my things out. Sometimes my friends aren't available. Well, be your own damn best friend and talk to yourself.
I love that.
And talk to yourself.
BYODF.
Yeah, right? There you go. So, when you practice self-love and self-care, these are some things like right now, it helps your mental health. You're going to have more self-acceptance. Your self-esteem is going to be higher. How you show up in your life and business is going to shift. People think this is just woo-woo stuff. No, this is powerful stuff. This is where, when you look at millionaires and stuff, when you look at millionaires, they have a practice.
They do. They have rituals.
You
routines.
sleep better, less anxiety. So
yeah,
I know.
I picture Amy's.
I'll have to interview. Going. Yeah, I'll have to interview. Her dog, if we ever want the deep secrets.
Yeah, Roxy's all
the deep stuff. So, and get out into nature. That's the number one way to connect to yourself. Get into the elements.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's it.
Powerful show, Ryan.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all we got. I woke up this morning and it was like, well, last night I set my alarm just in case, because I always have this anxiety that I'm gonna totally miss the show for some reason. But I set my alarm. I woke up this morning, and the first thing that came to my mind is, I get to be on with Dorothy-Inez. I was so excited to be on with you because you bring that big D energy. You fill up my cup. You're
Thank you, Ryan.
You're a special person. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. That's why I said I've missed you, brother. Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for everyone that's been on here today, listening, commenting. I'm seeing all of your comments, and I really would love to be in service to you. So, you can look at that link that Nick has, or you can reach out to me personally about my 21-day self-love challenge happening. September 1 is when it starts. It's just a powerful time. And then Nick's got his SG, you've got the new one coming up, right?
Yeah, August 31st. Yeah.
Yeah, that's power, all of it's powerful work that will get you where you need to be. The key is doing the work. You can't just show up and, for the call. You got to do the work.
Yeah. Man, I can't recommend you enough. So I'll continue to recommend you. If you haven't checked her out, please go to the link below, do that, read the tributes, but not as though you're reading about another person. Read it like Steve Hardison would say about you, like that's you saying that, because that's the impact that you have in the world, Dorothy-Inez. I'm grateful for you. As I look at your journey and where you're at and where you've come from to be where you're at. It hasn't been easy. You and I have talked about that. It hasn't been easy, but you show up every day. And that's the secret right there, is just keep showing up. People think, well, if I got here, then I'll get to where I want to go. But no, you've got to work with what you have. You got to work from where you are. That's why we do the X's. You're already where you need to be right now. So launch from there. That X is you. So you build from that. And what you've given today is just some really powerful tools for taking care of the one that's going to create your world, which is you.
Because nobody's promised tomorrow. And so you hold your gift You know, it's really selfish to hold your gifts and keep them to yourself. That's why what Nick is saying right now is so powerful. You launch out right now. God has given you everything you need right now to be in service to people. Don't wait.
Yeah, beautiful. Guys, thanks for watching. As always, we're grateful to have you here. Thank you for being a member of our tribe. You know, this community, yeah, it just keeps growing. And we will see you on the next episode. We got another great guest next week. So have a great week and make it a giant day.
Love you too.